Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we've got another great rookie video that will help you guys with your rookie draft, or maybe just want some insight of your dynasty and maybe you made some moves that you thought were maybe out of the ordinary. Maybe you made some great steals. So these are some rookies that I believe are going to be some absolute steals for your rookie dynasty draft. These are players that at this time were drafted pretty low. It could change a little bit based off of this video, and I've seen obviously some of these names starting to pop up a little bit more just based off of their value. So again, based off of where we are right now, these guys are absolute steals for your dynasty league. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are getting ready to do your rookie drafts and excited and want to get some players that you get really good value that can add to your team. So let's jump right into this. I have no particular order of how I'm going to talk about these players. These are just players that I went through. I've done about 15 rookie drafts. And a lot of these players, I was surprised to where they were falling based off of what they can do almost instantly to your team, or at least add value in the next 2 to 3 years, and are just absolute steals. I mean, some of these guys are names you're starting to get more familiar with, or it could be just draft capital. Maybe they landed on a team that you were like, man, had they landed here, they would have been a second or a first round pick. We'll see. So the first player I want to talk about is Tank Dell. He's a player that is starting to become more and more popular. I absolutely loved him. If you guys looked at my rookie wide receiver rankings, obviously I didn't have him a top tier like Njigba or Zay Flowers or anything like that, but I like what Tank Dell was able to bring from Houston. Then he goes to Houston, right? What's really cool about this experience is the fact that Stroud gets drafted there and absolutely wanted the Texans to draft him. Now, as far as rankings go, again, he wasn't near the top. He's falling anywhere from the late third round to the early fourth round if you guys are in 4-round drafts. He's starting to kind of go up. If you guys watch anything like some of those keep trade, cuts or something like that, you're starting to see his value increase, which is great for him. I love it. He is not going to be day one starter. He is going to be somebody that is going to add value for your dynasty in the next, I would say, couple years. He may even show up really well his rookie season. He's still got some competition ahead of him. Robert Woods, John Mechie, right? Like, he's got players he's got to compete against. He may end up wowing this offseason in training camp and things like that. So I have high expectations of him based off of where I'm drafting him, right? I'm not looking to be my wide receiver one on my team, but he might be a nice little flex play throughout the season and again, develop into something really, really strong for your team. So if I can grab him in the mid to late third round, that's an absolute steal. There's no reason not to go after him. And again, his name is starting to kind of increase a little bit more in Twitter feeds and different things like that. So he may not be as valuable as where he is right now. So if you can and you're doing your rookie drafts, I would go after him. Another player I really like is Roschon Johnson. I liked him a lot. If you look at my rookie rankings and running back, I loved what Roschon was able to do. Converting from quarterback to running back, he had obviously Bijan in front of him, which there's nothing wrong with having a generational talent in front of you and still being able to perform in the NFL. And I think he can do that. Right now, he's averaging 303 in rookie drafts right now as ADP. He is definitely someone that's starting to increase. Now, he does have competition in Chicago. He's got Deontay Foreman, he's got Khalil Herbert, and then himself. Here's why I think he's going to have some value. I think he's a great pure runner. I think he's a great receiving back. I think he could absolutely be of value there. Deontay Foreman's not necessarily that guy. Khalil Herbert can, but Herbert has had some issues staying healthy, and he's somebody that I again, if you guys watch my other videos, try to sell him if you can. So it is kind of a loaded backfield. I think they're going to use him a lot more than I think most people are unsure of. I've talked to some of my buddies who are big Chicago fans. They loved that they were able to get Roschon Johnson in this. I think he's a good steal. And again, in your rookie draft, he is somebody I'm definitely putting. Again, you may sit him on your taxi for this season. He may wow you and start blowing up for you, but I really like him at the 303. Another player is A.T. Perry coming into New Orleans. He's a mid to late third round. I've also seen him even fall out of the draft, which isn't very common. I've seen it a couple times in my rookie drafts. But here's where I think this is the value, right? You've got Michael Thomas, who is yet to play a full season for the past 3 years. So with Michael Thomas not being able to play a full season, there's an opportunity, right? I've seen Shaheed, again, he's going up and down. A lot of people have seen him drop him. Some people picked him up because of his value. I understand he could be a wide receiver 3 in your team. Obviously, you've got Chris Olave, who is their wide receiver 1. So with those situations going on in the wide receiver room, I think A.T. Perry has a possibility of sneaking into the wide receiver 3 role, maybe a wide receiver 2. We'll see how that kind of really happens. And then again, you've got a pretty good quarterback in Derek Carr to help add value. So I like this pick. Again, these third round picks are it's not something that you should really worry about. These are guys that you're looking for value. And that's where I think A.T. Perry really adds to it. Another value pick, I think, is going to be Luke Schoonmaker for the Dallas Cowboys. He was drafted early in the NFL draft in round 2. So there's high expectations that he probably will be the tight end 2, possibly tight end 1 for Dallas. I still think it's going to be Jake Ferguson. I still believe in him. I hyped him up. I really want him to be the tight end 1. But with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, who knows what's going to end up happening. But with that said, Luke is starting to fall into the mid third rounds to late third rounds as a possible tight end, especially if any of you guys who do tight end premium, half PPR extra or full PPR extra points. He is definitely a value because if you really look at Dallas in their offense, they love doing 2 tight end sets in general. They love throwing. Dak always trusts his tight ends. Look at what Dalton Schultz had become for them. So I love this range, and he's got talent. I was hoping they would go a different route in the draft, but again, he's definitely somebody you're going to want to add to your team and really brings in some value. Another tight end is Luke Musgrave. He is going to be the expected starting tight end for Green Bay Packers. I understand there's a lot of uncertainty with Jordan Love, and we're not really sure how that's going to play out, but I'm giving Jordan Love the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be a decent quarterback, mid to decent, right? Like good. Musgrave is going to the early third rounds in your drafts. If this is a tight end premium league, you're probably seeing him a little bit sooner just because of the expectation of him being the starter. And with the expectations of obviously tight ends are really hard to come by in your really fantasy leagues in general, to grab a starting tight end even in the third round is a steal. And really expectation is he's probably going to get a nice 30 to 45 reception type of season, at least the expectation in this. And again, he could even shock you and get even more. So I like that fact that I can grab him in the early third round as a starting tight end. Absolutely steal. Now, another player I want to mention is going to be Dwayne McBride, a running back that isn't getting a lot of love, but I absolutely loved coming into this NFL draft. He obviously didn't get the draft capital that I think a lot of people had hoped. He's going to a team right now, currently is the third on the depth chart behind Alexander Mattison, behind Dalvin Cook. Now, the expectation is there's a possible chance of Dalvin Cook being traded. I know that got shot down by Minnesota, but I still think it's something that they may consider. If Dalvin Cook gets traded, now you've got Alexander Mattison, who, again, somebody I mentioned you should be going after, now becomes RB1, and Dwayne McBride becomes RB2. In most leagues, you're still seeing a 2-back type of system. McBride is a good running back. So the fact that he's getting in the early third round, again, your expectation is sit him on your taxi, maybe add some depth. He's somebody that could possibly end up being somebody that's going to add value. Running backs are definitely have a chance of being in the third round, being of value for your dynasty team. I wouldn't say redraft, but he's definitely somebody you're going to handcuff to your team, especially if you have Dalvin Cook or Alexander Mattison, because he is going to be somebody that could possibly scratch into that starting lineup or, again, be an RB2 depending on if someone gets traded or hurt. So I like him there. Another running back I really like is Eric Gray. Now, Eric Gray is typically getting undrafted, so you're able to pick him up off of waivers. And for me, he's somebody if I have the opportunity to add to my team or taxi squad, I'm adding. Because realistically, right now, he could easily beat out Matt Breida as the RB2 behind Saquon Barkley. Now, Barkley showed very healthy last year. Again, another year, we're hoping he's very healthy. But if he does have some issues that starts to come up, Eric Gray now becomes the RB1 on that team. Now, do I expect him to possibly keep Breida and obviously be there to kind of add? Sure. But I think Eric Gray can beat out Matt Breida in this offseason and become the RB2. Breida becomes the 3. Again, Breida's got some value in the reception game, but I definitely like Eric Gray. Again, not somebody I'm possibly drafting, but he's definitely somebody that, depending on where your depth is and how many roster spots you have, and if you have some taxi spots, I'm absolutely grabbing him. Now, the last guy I want to mention is going to be wide receiver Puka Nacua. Wide receiver 5 right now currently for the LA Rams. But if you look at what this this depth chart. Look at this depth chart right here. I mean, he's got Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Skobernick. Are you really impressed with that wide receiver room at all for the Rams? Yeah, Cooper Kupp obviously is a stud, an elite receiver. But there's a chance that he becomes somewhat relevant in this offense. Jefferson tends to have health issues. Tutu Atwell I don't think, had really a lot of value. I think he's one of those guys that he was drafted off of talent and some high expectations, high ceiling opportunities, and really hasn't shown up. So there's a really good chance that he's somebody that you can absolutely go. Now, Puka is definitely somebody that has been slowly getting into the third round. For the most part, he was falling into the waiver field, and you're able to grab him off of waivers. I think now he's becoming more and more common in the draft world. I think people are starting to recognize and realize, wow, the Rams have some issues at the wide receiver room. And he's got very Robert Woods-like type of skill set. So again, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp had a great season together when they played. So there is some value there. Again, I'm not drafting him super high. These are for your third, fourth round picks. You know, you're taking that shot because wide receivers are a little bit harder to grab in the third and fourth round that are really going to add some value to your team. But he's definitely somebody I'm considering. So those are my steals of this draft. Again, if you guys think there are other players that I didn't mention here that you're starting to see fall in your rookie drafts, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know if there's other players. If you guys agree or disagree, again, hit me down below as well. I'd love to see what you guys are starting to see in your rookie drafts. Maybe share some trades you guys are starting to do. Again, I'm always about these rookie drafts. It's always what makes Dynasty so fun in this offseason. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, make sure you share this with your friends, maybe not your league mates, but your friends. And again, if you guys have any other questions, hit me in the comments. Make sure you like the video, and I'll catch you guys next time.